We are thrilled to announce the exciting partnership between Sunset Speedway and Stickers and Scuffs. As our local hometown track, Sunset Speedway holds a special place in our hearts, offering thrilling weekly racing events that cater to a wide range of enthusiasts. From bone stocks to mini stocks, modifieds to hot rods, pro lates to the junior late models. Our track is home to a diverse and talented group of racers who continue to captivate us at every turn. Located in Innisfil, Ontario, Sunset Speedway boasts an incredible atmosphere that truly embodies the spirit of racing. Looking ahead, 2024 promises to be a remarkable year with a major lineup of events that will surely leave spectators on the edge of their seat. Don't miss out on the Hanley Classic, the Power Wheel Drags, Oscar Hot Rods versus Sunset Hot Rods, Velocity, the Tamio Memorial, the Bill Zarda Memorial, and countless other thrilling races. For their complete schedule and ticket information, be sure to visit sunsetspeedway.ca today. Get ready for a season packed with speed, adrenaline, and unforgettable moments. Hello, everybody. We're back. Stickers and Scuffs. Cam K is not officially, but we're better than where we were. I've got my voice back, which is the most important thing, and I can blab as much as I want on this episode. And we had to bring somebody out on the show to get everybody's attention, and he's already done that so far by being part of the Ontario Sportsman Series this year, driving the number 93 Avenger as part of the Avengers for Trevco Motorsports with lots of fun behind him. He's been a great source of entertainment for us in the OSS, not just on the racetrack, but off of it as well. I'm shocked, Graydon, because he's not wearing his cowboy hat on.
Gotta save that for the racetrack, Cam.
He's not wearing it on the show. Nathaniel Greenaway is here, and I'm going to call his name for a second time for Rogers TV to hear it just one more time. It's Nathaniel Greenaway, not Brendan Patrick in the 93. Nathaniel, how are you, buddy?
Oh, not bad. Yourself, guys?
Oh, we're good, man. We're excited. OSS race number 3 already. 3 of 10. And, man, it's going quick. And you're top 10 in points, tied for 6th in points already. Got a couple, I believe you got a couple of top 10s to start the season. How are things going, man? When you got that car last year from Herbie Drescher, you were so excited, and now you're out there. Does it feel real?
It feels beyond real. The excitement is still there. Every time we talk about it, I think my excitement builds more towards it. But picking up that car just made it real, and then being at Motorama, just everything started sinking in. And I don't know about you, but going into Delaware, I was shaking and I was nervous. And we got no practice time because of the rainouts and everything. So the first time in the car was the first race, and so we were shaking it down in practice. And the day started to feel better. Like Delaware, we were lacking power a little bit, and it was noticeable because we were trying, but we were maxed out. But it came to full throttle, a track that I was at first really nervous going into, but wow, that's that track most fun I've ever had in a race car, to be honest.
Yeah, Graydon Bunn knows a lot about fun at racetracks for the first time, and it's funny that you mentioned this because that actually ties in, Graydon, with you as well, because you also got no practice before you jumped into a race car for the Outlaw Midgets the first time. So you and Nathaniel, same story here, kind of crazy.
Yeah, there's a lot of parallels there. Like, so when you were saying that, I was feeling it big time where it's trial by fire. Literally, you get in and just kind of figure it out by the ass of your pants. But there's no better way, I guess, to do it than just go out and do it, right?
Exactly. And it was Like I ran there. I ran at Delaware as a kid back in the junior late models or the Crown Rust Control Junior Racing League at the time, and stepping up to the big leagues and stepping up to the big track. It was a whole different adventure. But having people in my corner, such as an experienced Kevin Trevelyan, running so many laps at places like that, and then on top of that, having Corey McAllister having no issues at going, hey, what's going on? What's the car doing? You know, how can I help you out? Here's the line to run at full throttle. Here's walks the track, shows you everything. The guys in this series are just so tight knit and willing to help, and it makes it feel like a big family, which is really, really awesome.
Yeah, and to your point about full throttle, I found that I ran Delaware in a bone stock before I ran full throttle too, and I found honestly the speed was one thing at Delaware, but like the constant being in traffic and the tight quarters and like being comfortable with contact at Varney is an animal like no other, and I kind of found it almost more daunting at first than or in my mind I had it built up to be, but it's a ton of fun, eh?
I don't know about you, but that launch you get off, if you hit that the center of 1 and 2, you hit that right, and you get that little jump in your seat, and it throws you up there, and it's like I said, and then you have to forget about turn 3 because that don't even matter. It's all about your exit on turn 4. And even Corey said, you stare at that wall, you're hitting it. Stare at the flag stand.
Yes,
and it's simple advice like that we were able to honestly put the car clean at the end of the night on the trailer, and I couldn't have asked for anything better, and we still walked away 8th place overall and with a top 10, and I was grinning ear to ear, and I even teared up at the end of the night. And it was that place is so much fun, so much character, and such a fun racetrack.
Yeah, agreed.
So Nathaniel, when you came in, obviously we had a lot of hype. We were talking right away, and Trevelyan, I had met him when we first started OSS, and I didn't know Kevin Trevelyan. I knew the name, but then there's this guy coming out and helping him a couple weeks, and he's a really friendly guy. And it turns out it was you the whole time. I had no idea. And then you come out, you get this opportunity to be a part of the series, but we really don't know, where was Nathaniel Greenaway before OSS? Where does the racing kind of start? You had just mentioned junior late model racing at Delaware.
Yeah, so everything began honestly with both my parents. When I was a kid growing up, my mom was a paralegal and she traveled everywhere. So and everywhere had a go-kart track where she went to. So she went, here, I need to go do some work. Here's $20, go have fun in a go-kart. And ever since then, and my dad and I started looking into the junior late models of the Crown Rust Control Junior Racing League at Delaware. And it was a really, really cool experience and opportunity because they not only just let you go run a car, but at the end of the night, the junior division and the senior division split up and they go to classrooms and they actually teach you about how to set up a car.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really, really cool. And then on top of that, they just didn't give you points towards racing. They gave you scholarship points. So you actually got a scholarship at the end of the year based on how you finished with your schooling side compared to your racing side.
That's amazing.
It's sad to see that program doesn't exist anymore, but it's still cool to see those cars running. And then from there, really, when I was 18 years old, I had the opportunity. I got accepted to NASCAR Technical Institute for the pit crew program down in Mooresville. And unfortunately, my visas and stuff got denied, so I couldn't go.
Man.
I got to go down there, tour the campus. It was a private tour. It was just myself, my parents, my girlfriend at the time. And it was over the holidays, and they opened the doors with open arms, walked us through everything. We got to see more stuff than you'd normally see. And it just built my excitement up more. And one of my visas got denied. It was kind of a bummer. So then, so from there, I was in college for a little bit, but then I went and joined the Army for 5 years, hoping that it would kind of help my visa situation when I got out to try to go back down to the States. Well, that just worked out worse in my favor. So then, but we were also fighting with COVID, right? It was really hard because tracks were shut down. Nobody was racing. Well, then all of a sudden, 15 minutes down the road, local dirt track at Southern Ontario Motor Speedway, or now Buxton Raceway again. And we were like, let's just go get a Thunderstock. Let's just go have some fun. And running the dirt, had a lot of fun, learned a lot. And then getting to meet Kevin Kevin traveling at the racetrack, and basically him just taking me under his wing. Last year when I went and spotted for him, he would help me out, advice, all this stuff, and getting to spot for him was a really big thing because I got to learn a lot of these tracks and see how things are run before getting behind the wheel, which is really nice. So to have an experienced veteran like Kevin to shadow and to be there, I just left the shop not too long ago. We were just talking at the shop, and being taken in by him is just a lot because he's been a huge help to stepping in the right direction and a big bonus for us getting these top 10s.
Mm-hmm. I think one of the things that is understated is the feel-good story that he had.
Yes.
In 2022, because for a guy that raced 30 years to not win a feature, and he goes out, wins 2 features and the championship in the same year.
What a Cinderella story. It was awesome.
And
everybody talks about, oh, the guys on the open trailers. You can't do it on an open trailer. Well, guess what? He proved everybody wrong that year.
It's just, and always kind of, if you go back to when he was in CASCAR, he was always kind of the back of the field guy, and has never had, I think he said he's never had a partnership, like a full car partnership, like one that goes all over and supports the entire season. And good puppy.
Yeah. Here comes the other one too.
There goes the other one.
They're all coming in now.
And I've got my, cat, but not. She's right here.
Oh, we like our animals around here.
Yeah, we do.
Oh yeah.
This is a pet friendly podcast, but so again, him coming from nothing essentially and going off and winning a championship in what was a last race championship. It came down to the very end. And not only that, Connor James won in his other car that same race, and he got a 1-2 in the finale. And I think it's one of those things that 35 years of waiting and
everything just clicked finally, and
everything just
fell
clicked
into place.
And I think for yourself, like coming in and getting experience from somebody that's kind of not been given everything.
Yeah, is it like what a hell of a mentor?
That's got to be something, right?
It's to learn from a guy like Kevin who's done everything for himself, the fabricating, the getting, like he was a one-man wrecking machine in his 2022 year, where he was telling me stories. He's like, I'd walk around every track going, hey, you want to be my spotter? You want to be my spot? Like, to be like that and to have the success that he did is, to me, I look up to that, because that's what I eventually want to teach another kid coming up and another young guy coming up when I'm his age and he's turning around mentoring guys, then I can turn around and do the same. And it keeps the racing family alive. And
to say the least, obviously it's inspirational to you for sure to be under Kevin's wing, as you said, right? I mean, as the guy can essentially play any position on the team and has done it over the years. So, I mean, there's nothing that guy can't really speak to when you have a question for him or just want to hit him up for some kind of information. That's got to be pretty handy to lean on.
It really is. And at the track, when he's doing his own thing, we try to give each other the space that we need for working on our own cars, because we all got a race to run at the same time. But knowing that I can go up and be like, hey, Kevin, this is kind of what the tire pressure is showing. I feel tight in the center. Like, what do you think? Like, am I off by saying, hey, we maybe need a tire pressure adjustment or a little round a wedge or anything like that, or adjust on the bar? And he'll be like, no, and you're not far off, but try this first on this next practice and see how you feel. And if not, I'll tell you where to go from there. So it's really, really cool to have him and to pit beside him, because he offers that tons of knowledge. Yeah. And which is really nice is even my crew guys, they lean on him and we become a really tight knit family, which is really, really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking to your time in the forces and in the Army, you have a really cool partnership with your merch and everything too. Like, you've made connections that you carry with you beyond the service. So kind of talk about relationships you've made there too, that kind of makes it a family thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Is one guy, he's with Corporal for Life.
Mm-hmm.
He's known coast to coast with his apparel for any base you go to. And Nick is such a great guy and a humble guy, and local here in Windsor, actually not too far from me. So getting that connection, we've built that bond over the last couple of years. He really wanted to do a collaboration. So we released the collaboration shirts at Motorama, and they're available for purchase on his website as well. With 10% of all proceeds and everything going to veterans and different veterans associations. So it really means a lot to have those close-knit ties, because when I get guys that I used to be in with and they're calling me from out east, out west, and they're like, man, how did you land that? Like, isn't the guy from like Toronto or something? Like, no, he's literally like, I probably have a beer with him once a week, because every once in a while when we can, because he's down the road.
Yeah.
And to make those bonds with especially a lot of local people in my community, I try to keep everything as local as possible. Homes, like I said, homes where you got your start. And for me, I try not to have too many big corporations on the card, because it's the little guys that got you to where you are. So keeping everything a tight knit family and close to you it means a lot to me, especially with the local tavern here in Pancor with Central Tavern, Country Road Towings, family business with Affordable Framing and Son, Goodrow Excavating, big part of the team this year with coming on board and helping us getting the car, and him being local and everything in Tilbury. It just means a lot, because a lot of those smaller businesses don't get to see the big show, and now that they get to come out to Delaware and to Sunset and all that as well, it means a lot to them, because they get to see something a lot bigger and be a part of something bigger.
And with these speedways doing Sunset having them, and then on the 22nd, when I go back racing at Varney, it's going to be military night. That's got to hit home for you too. That's got to be something that you like to see happening.
It was really, I love seeing it happen. Last year, I got the chance to be at Sunset because OSS was there on the military appreciation night, and Kevin actually ran the hood, because I was asking him, like, man, I think Kevin, I was like, if there's some military guys, they would love to see that hood. Yeah. Like, I think it would mean a lot if you ran it, and he did, and it was really, really cool. Kind of sucks to know that it was last weekend at Sunset. I know what the original plan was for next weekend, but we still got first responders night, so they mean just as much. They are just as much in the battle as the forces as well, and they're keeping things safe at home. So it's it really means a lot to be tied in with all that, and it pulls close to home, because then you can go and talk to guys, and when they find out you're a vet, they open up a lot more to you. Mm-hmm. So, and some are struggling with mental health and stuff. So when they come out and see all this stuff, they open up, and you build those relationships, and you talk someone through things.
Absolutely.
It's always important, I think, that with these podcasts and with social media, there's so much negativity that it's used for. However, there is so much positivity, and that's why having these podcasts is so important, because no one would know just by you driving around on a racetrack that you were a vet.
Yeah.
And so these are so critical. They're so important, because people get to learn people's stories. And when we had Steve McCaw on here, people know what happened with him. They know his story. They know his recovery. Exactly. People that are first responders, people that are vets, the fact that we've gotten to learn people's jobs and what they do outside. We have firefighters that are race car drivers. We have paramedics. We have nurses. We have police officers that are race car drivers on top of their regular duty. You have people that are business owners, teachers. We have the professor himself, Chad McGlynn. There's so many guys and gals that do all sorts of stuff. I mean, I believe one of them, we have like home care workers, that like people from all different walks of life that come in, and you have heavy equipment operators that work the back roads of Bracebridge that are race car drivers, and it just shows that anybody can do it. And for yourself, it came really quick, because you were at Southern Ontario not that long ago, and now all of a sudden you've got this car and you're in the series. Did you ever how quick of the decision was it to get going on OSS? Because there's a lot of different other racing divisions that you could have gone and been a part of.
We absolutely, and we looked at just running super stocks at Delaware, and we looked at late models, and we ended up picking up. We traded. I had a late model that we were going to end up running just in the V8 stocks just for a little bit, but then we ended up making a trade for Kevin's old chassis that Connor won in up in North Bay. So we went and picked that up, and that's still sitting in the shed. And we were going to start fixing that, and then we were on our way up to Sunset, I believe it was for the second race at Sunset last year. And Kevin sent me the link that Herbie posted, and I was like, well, let's see what I can do. And by the time the ride home finished, I already had the deal worked out, and within a week we were going to pick it up. And I was like, I don't mess around when it comes when I'm fighting for something and I want something. There's no messing around. I'm going to get it. I'm going to get it.
Nice.
This for this season, for example, a top 5 in points would be really, really cool. But with learning everything, I'd be great with a top 10, but I need something to push towards, right? So it's everything just really came together so fast, and it wasn't really going to pick up the car. We were actually supposed to run the car at the season finale at Delaware last year. OSS granted us a one race provisional basically so we could shake down the car. It had a Dodge motor in it with the Avenger body. It would have been really, really cool, but it just didn't kind of work out. The time didn't work itself out. So we once things got going, once the wrap went on, and then Motorama came up quick, and then all of a sudden, boom! It's season opener. And we're like, where'd the time go?
I mean, we're at going into race number 3, Nathaniel, and it's been a very good season for you to join, because it's been the biggest fields that we've had in quite some time. We had 19 at Delaware, which is the most that we've had since 2019 at Full Throttle, which is shocking to me that we fit 19 on Full Throttle, because it seems a little nuts when we have 12.
That's jumping.
So
yeah,
that's busy.
But you're in a field that is full of veterans and a couple of young guns and a couple of newbies like yourself and Laura Authier, your teammate. Chris Shera running out there, Tim Bourne. But then you guys got Corey McAllister and Chad and Sean McGlynn this year. Kevin Trevelyan, Doug Cathcart, Michael Herniak Jr., Kevin Gallant. Like, the list is stacked this year. And then of course you got like Mark Patrick and Brendan Patrick as well on either sides of their careers.
I was about to say you're talking to Brendan Patrick. I don't know what you're talking about here, according to Rogers.
For those that don't understand the context, Rogers TV for the broadcast OSS at Delaware, I sent everybody the list, and for some reason they had Brendan Patrick listed twice, and Nathaniel spun, and they referred to him the entire race as Brendan Patrick, but then also referred to Brendan Patrick as Brendan Patrick. So there were two in the race.
The part that killed me the most was when you're watching the broadcast. Here comes Brendan Patrick in the 12, and here comes Brendan Patrick in the 93, and they don't key in. They don't key into it. And Kevin was actually telling me a story when he had 2 of his cars running. Well, they both had the 19 on them.
Yes, they did.
They were like, "Here comes Kevin Trevelyan in the 19, and then here comes Kevin Trevelyan." And then he's like, "Wait a second."
Yeah,
but he caught himself. Rogers TV couldn't catch himself, but it was really cool to even just have the broadcast, because it really got family coast to coast involved. I had family from British Columbia watching. I had family, my mother in Manitoba watching.
Oh, that is so cool.
So for me, that really meant a lot that they could be on the broadcast. I had friends of mine back from Manitoba watching. So it was, and I'm getting text messages. Like, I didn't check my phone at all, but getting in the truck going, "Hey, love the great race, great job." Like, the fact that they got to watch really, really meant so much more. So for me, a little name mix up, at the end of the day, the family knows who it is and they know who they're cheering for. So,
well, you did have you probably had a bit of a Code Brown moment as well. A couple of them, because you had a moment where Tim Bourne went to the inside and blew past you, and then and he had a bit of a mess into turn one. I was going to ask, you said you were down on power. I can't imagine being a racer and not being able to go as fast as I possibly could. How do you not get discouraged?
For me, being the first time in the car, I wasn't focusing on the lack of power. I wasn't focusing on the other drivers. I was focusing with myself, my team, and just going out there and getting laps under our belt. We didn't care where we finished. We didn't care how many laps we went down. I just told the guys at the end of the night, this is seat time. Let's get dialed in. Let's focus together as a team. My spotty, Robbie Vrabel, just absolutely incredible in the spotter stand. Like, even at Varney, that he'd tell me when I got at least, I got a good gap behind me. Like, all right, open it up as much as you can. Let's see the line. Let's see what you can do. And the first spin, my fault, definitely 100% my fault. I was trying to run a little harder and drive it in a little deeper, and I just didn't have the tires to stick. I was on used tires, and the second time, the first spin, I was more of the code brown because I spun and the car stalled out because I couldn't. It just died the moment it spun, and I'm staring at a green flag field coming my way
right
off
at
the start finish line, and I'm like, they're not slowing down. They're not slowing down. I let go of the wheel, grab my belt, so I'm like, well, sorry, Kevin. And then right as soon as Corey got to turn one and the caution flag came out, everyone went low, and I was like, the sigh of relief came out. And then kind of the same thing happened going around, and again in the same spot. My spotty Robbie, he turned around, he's like, hey, you got a gap behind you. He goes, I want you to try and drive it in a little deeper and try to arc a corner a little more. I was like, all right, let's give it a shot. Went to try it, and the moment I went to get back on the throttle, it just there was no grip left by the end of that night, and we were just trying. We were just out there for the experience, the learning experience. I knew that, we weren't going to be up there in time wise. We were, I believe, 3 seconds off the pace. So for us, I wasn't getting discouraged because I knew going in already. And if you go in with the mindset that, hey, I'm down on power, and if you get negative on yourself, you're going to end up having a bad night. Something bad's going to happen. To try and stay positive, to try and just keep pushing forward, and just learn is the best way to go. And I tell that to any young kid coming up, is if you have a bad night, don't get discouraged. You learn from those bad nights. It's those bad nights what make you a better racer the next time you're there, because hey, I tried this didn't work, and you have those notes to now go back on. So, and the same thing at Varney. I go in there, I didn't have the shakes as much. I got some time to walk the track, but just see the banking and the character and the tightness, and seeing it all and picking, like I said, Kevin and Corey's brain. And they said leaders come up. The biggest thing I can tell you, leaders come up fast. and what was really nice is when we went out and practiced, we were in the 14 seconds. We were high 14s. Actually, sorry, we were low 15s in the first practice, just because I wanted to get the feel. Second practice, we shaved a second off our time. Nice. So just having the confidence and knowing you can trust your equipment is the biggest. And then we went out for qualifying. I was like, hey, no, I'm getting 13s. The rest of the field is in 13s. I got to get in the 13. Just missed it with a 14-1. But we stayed consistent with that time throughout the whole night. So when you can look back and see that your lap times are consistent, you're running your race. That was the major thing, is we could look at race monitor and everything was consistent. So consistency at the end of the day, if you can stay consistent, you're going to do well. So that was the main focus. So the biggest thing, as I always said, is just don't hang your hat on yourself. Just be confident. And if people want to doubt you, then let them doubt you, because that's the fire that's going to light me later on anyway.
Yeah. Well, like you said, if that, like what you're saying, inspires kids, well, I'm like a 43-year-old kid that you're saying that stuff to as well. So it's motivating, man, to hear that sort of stuff, because sometimes Tim has told me, Chris Lawrence had told me, and I'm pretty sure that like my CGC guys have told it to me too, that like run your own race, because like you spend too much time worrying about the variables and the things that you can't control. It's not worth your mental
No,
picking up that focus on stuff that you can't control. So I mean, when that's my biggest criticism on myself is running my own race that I'm really trying to get better at, that it's eyes front. And I mean, you got to be
exactly.
aware obviously of what's going on around you, of course, but I mean, like, the basic concept is run your own race.
Exactly. And if you can master that, then at the end of the day, you're laughing, because for me, I got out of the car at Delaware, and that's when the moment sank in. It was all surreal. I was in tears. I was literally in tears after qualifying. I got out of the car, and my girlfriend still picks on me for this. I ran right past her, ran right past my best friend. I went to my dad, hugged him, and I just thanked him. And because it was knowing that you're there, you're at a racetrack, and
Yeah.
it feels like home again. So to have those moments like that really, really builds you, right? So,
Yeah.
and I always say, and when I always say, you're speaking to the inner kid in anybody when they strap into a race car. I don't know, the inner 12-year-old comes out in you, and you're like, ooh, horsepower, and you go and you get to have fun with it, right? Like,
Yeah.
if you don't get out of the race car, and you didn't have fun, or you didn't, everyone says, Ricky Bobby says, you ain't first, you're last. Well, it's really, if you're first in your eyes, and you ran a good race, you ran your race, you have the confidence in yourself, and things come with time. Like, I grew up racing with Joe Lawrence and Chris Lawrence in the junior racing league, and they told me the same stuff coming up.
Mm-hmm.
And to see where Joe's at, see where Chris is at, and see the guys I grew up with where they're at. So it gives you something to push towards, right?
Yeah, totally, man.
You have a great opportunity to have an amazing season in OSS, running for the full season, and definitely, obviously, as an SNS racer, we're out there to support you 1,000%. But now comes your fun, because I warned you about this at Motorama, and I said when you were on the show that you're going to have to remember every single one of your partners, and you don't have the car behind you as a cheat this time. So
and I can even prove to you, I don't have a list in front of me either.
so Trevor Culver has been the guy that has done it the best. He has got like 15, 16, 17 partners, and he just rambles them off. So I know that there's been some changes on that car too. So now you got to remember who's there and who isn't. So
Yeah.
Nathaniel, not just your partners, but everybody who supports you, they'd get the opportunity to get a shout out. And this is your time to thank them for what they do for you.
No, and absolutely. And Cam, it's without them that I'm not wearing this race shirt. I'm not putting a race suit on. So it's all thanks to them that I'm able to do this. So big shout out, definitely Goodrow Excavating for helping us get the car. And then Affordable Framing and Son with the family business, Country Road Towing, Central Tavern, Lamb Accounting, Techna Steel, Craze Patinery, Serious Supplements, St. Clair College alumni being from St. Clair. That's really huge to have them on the car.
That's cool.
Then we're going. All right. We also have Corporal for Life, and we can't forget Stickers and Scuff podcast with both you two lovely gentlemen. Gotta make sure I slip that in there. And all right, working our way down. Windsor Metal Services. Andrew was always a big help, and especially when I was injured and being off, he helped me out huge. So he's, no matter what, he's always going to be on that car beside me. And then we also have. Oh, I got to look at the car now. I don't have the car to look at. Another big addition to the team was Farmers Gold. They're a local company out of Chatham, Kent. They're actually in the process of getting their product on shelves. They're almost like cheese puffs. Tastes like
we love a cheese puff.
All organic. I'm actually trying to work on having some at Sunset for samplers. They're sending some with me. I'm actually working on that. They're all local. They grow all their corn within Chatham, Kent, which is really, really cool to make their product. All right. I know I'm missing a couple.
We got Pro Tint.
Oh yes, Pro Tint for the amazing wrap. Again, Serious Supplements. We got to give him a second shout out because we had an amazing time with him at Retrofest and getting the word out there for him. And then we're
Naples.
Yeah, Naples Pizza in Amherstburg. If you're ever out in the area, great pizza, great people. And I think forward.
I don't know if everybody's on.
Ron's Rabbitry with growing amazing rabbits, and and Pyramid Vodka as well. Pyramid Vodka being a good family of mine, my spotter's father that sells it, Robert as well, and really, really good product. And it's, again, it's Ukrainian, but it's all sold locally here around. So it's but it's on top of that, it's really my parents that I give one of the biggest shout outs to, with it's really, really cool because it actually made my dad tear up a bit. So I give a big shout out to my dad, Dave. The first pair of race gloves he bought me when I first started racing, I wore those on my first race back at Delaware. Yeah. So when he seen me get out of the car with those, he's like, "Are those what I is?" I was like, "Yep." He goes, "You still have?" I was like, "Yep, 100%." And they're honestly, that's what got me through two of the other races. Was both races so far was I had those, so I had that comfortability of having family with me in the car, and a big shout out to my mechanic Matt Ulch, who's actually at the shop right now, doing a little wrenching on the car and getting things going and getting things tightened up. Hopefully, we can have some more horsepower. And he wanted to spend some one-on-one time with the old girl. So he's like, "No, you leave, go do what you got to do." He's like, "I want some one-on-one time." He's like, her and I need to chat. So with all my crew guys, like I said, my spotter, Robbie, Matt, Kevin being a big help, my teammate, Laura, being rookies together in the series, that's huge for both of us, and having Kevin to lean on. And guys like Corey McAllister to lean on as well. Like I said, everybody in the series is welcomed with open arms. You guys as well, being a part of the Stickers and Scuffs family now. And it really means a lot knowing that the way racing is, it's just a family. And it doesn't matter at the end of the day, you can be mad at the guy for dumping you in two, but it's the family that really, really clicks at the end of the day, which is really cool.
Well said, man.
I mean, I think you got everybody.
Oh, one last one, actually. I had a little reminder. Used to be Profoto's Farm Equipment, but now is actually Bono's Farm Supplies. He actually just recently changed his name on the date that we ran at Full Throttle. So Richard is a really, really great guy. And he's, like I said, with the name change, kind of threw me for a loop. And the only reason I remembered is because I looked at my hat. See, that's why we have a cowboy hat on. See, I had a reminder.
Well, there's somebody also that you had with you at Motorama.
Absolutely, I cannot forget the one that stands by my side, and I get chirped for this because I said it when we did the live at Motorama, that she did a pretty good job with the logo. My girlfriend, the ones that stand by my side and does my photography, she did an incredible job with the logo. I am never going to live down the fact that I said pretty good. So, and my dad was behind the scenes. So I hear it weekly. I hear it weekly all the time, every family gathering. I'm not going to live it down, but she stood by my side at every racetrack, been there. So she just recently graduated from St. Clair herself. So to have that opportunity to be there for her and to support her through her stuff, Jolene Dreger with Rustic Graphic Designs. So she's actually going to be the one designing the wrap next year, and she has all these ideas, and she won't tell me. She's like, "It's a surprise."
You mean I'm being replaced?
No, not being replaced, but competition now, Cam. Some competition. She's like, "No, I want to do it." And I was like, "Okay, but you got some competition though.
Yeah,
some competition." So I think what we might end up having to do is you come up with one and she'll come up with one. We'll throw it up online. We'll have the sticker.
You put me up against Jolene. Come on.
We'll have the Stickers and Scuffs family decide who's going to be
sleeping by yourself soon.
I mean, I can open up the door for you, Cam.
Oh man, Nathaniel, how can people follow along? You guys have good social media that people can follow along. You guys are very active on it. So, how can people follow along with your story?
So definitely give us a follow on Facebook. I spend a lot of my time. I got to keep up the Instagram. Having a harder time with that because I'm not a big Instagram person. Working on that, but definitely on Facebook with Greenaway Motorsports. It also comes up as Greenaway Racing as well, with the name change and everything too. So give us a follow. It's we try to keep us updated. We're actually going to be posting pictures from Varney either tonight or tomorrow. Just waiting on the last couple to come through and download. So where we try to post in the week of, so we do a little recap and then building up to the next week. So it's Facebook's definitely the way to go. We keep up to date with all our events that we attend. So And personally, if you want to follow my personal page, reach out if you ever have any questions, anything. I respond to anybody that wants to talk racing and that wants to get into the sport and even just come out to the track and be there. Motorama was huge. We had a bunch of kids reach out just to my personal Facebook page because they didn't feel comfortable reaching out to the team page, and they reached out personally, and we're hoping to have them at a couple of races this year, which is really, really cool. So nice. It's the following and the followers and the fans and everybody within the Sportsman Series that really get this going. So it's all you guys as well that get it done.
Nathaniel Greenaway here on the Stickers and Scuffs podcast.